Hi there. In today's video, I'm going to talk about something that will sound kind of counterintuitive, and that is hard work is all you need to make money and build business. There are a lot of people out there who carry this same belief is that, and that belief is hard work will make you rich, right? You just got to work harder. You got to hustle more. You got to do more. And if you do more, and everything will just fall in place. Wrong. It just doesn't work that way in business. Hard work will fail you in business if that's all you're doing. And you might not agree with me, just hear me out. So I'm going to talk about 5 things that shows you that if you just work hard, you will never be successful. You will never, however you define success, whether it's making money or building a successful business or helping your church, whatever you're going for, it will not be possible for you to do that if you're just going with the simple concept of hard work alone. Well, number one, let's just get started. Just 5 simple things. It's going to take a few minutes. Just give me that time. And if you really enjoy our content here at the Blueprint and in our channel, just please like the video and comment below with your feedback. I want to hear from you. Again, what I hear from you guys shape what we do in this channel and in our business. So it's really, really important for me to get some level of feedback from you. So 5 things. Number one, people confuse hard work with brute force, right? So you carrying boulder from one end of the street to the other one, it's considered some kind of work, but it is really hard work and you're not really accomplishing something. Well, that's obvious. Everyone knows that, right? So where I'm trying to go with that is whenever you're faced with something that pushes you out of your comfort zone, meaning that let's say you want to start a business, you're starting a business, and that requires you to acquire some new skills that you might not currently have, which could be marketing, lead generation, sales, and learning a new industry. People revert back to something else that gives predictable results, which is just hard work. If they're used to doing hard work, they just, I see this all the time, right? So you give someone instructions on how to do something, they look at it, they go, oh man, I never done it this way. And it pushes them out of their comfort zone. Then they try to create their own version of that, which is a lot more laborious, a lot more tedious, and a lot less results driven. So instead of doing the hard mental work, they want to do the hard work in their mind to justify to their subconscious that they're doing something. It's better than not doing anything at all. That's why you have sayings like, if you don't know what to do, just do something. So they have a place, they do work. I'm not against them, right? If you're just lazy, obviously it's better than doing something and even moving boulder than doing nothing at all. But I'm talking about intellectual laziness, right? So you want to get some level of result. For that reason, you decide to take action. You take action, then you find out what you need to do to get that result, and it pushes you out of your comfort zone. You're like, I'll just go back to this thing that I've been doing. It's actually not that bad, right? And a better example is people just going back their jobs, right? So they complain, and they're just not happy working for somebody else. They see the writing on the wall that at some point your boss is going to get rid of you and bring someone who they can pay less, or your productivity drops, and you're just not happy with where your life is going right now. And you decide to take action. You decide to start your own business, grow your business, and all of that. And then you start going through this process of acquiring new skills, which is going to be always required, right? So you're not going to just wake up rich tomorrow just because you made up your mind about something. And as they're going through that process, they start convincing themselves, you know what? I actually work really hard at my job, but it's not that bad. Yeah, they kind of, over time, they kind of give up on their dream instead of putting in the intellectual work so they can have more free time, more financial freedom in the end, right? So that's number one, people confusing hard work, intellectual hard work with brute force. Number two is you might be a hardworking person, but what if you're working on the wrong thing? How do you know that what you're working on is the right thing that will take you from point A to point B, right? So you might be on the wrong vehicle traveling to the opposite direction. So how do you know that's really not the case? So many people who are thinking that way, they do not even accept the slightest criticism of their direction. So they have, their ego is on the way pretty much. you're not open to feedback. Most people who are dealing with this condition, they are not really open to any type of feedback because their ego is on the way. They think that someone criticizing what they're trying to accomplish is in fact a disbelief in what they're working on, which is a wrong diagnosis of the problem. And I used to deal with this a lot when I first started my multi-level marketing business years ago. And again, so I don't want to get any hate from the multi-level marketing people. I didn't know any better, so I joined this company and they had a broken structure, right? And that doesn't mean multi-level marketing companies, all of them have that, because obviously I haven't been through all of them. Some of them might be actually good. But I was so sold on the idea that I sold it to my mom, my family, and my friends. I signed up my sister and others around me and just attended their events and bought their products and changed my entire lifestyle because I was so sold on this idea. I thought this was the vehicle that will make me rich, right? But then along the way, I started having doubters. And these people are not just outsiders. These people have been family members and people who would doubt the legitimacy of this business. Not that it was illegal, but the plan itself, right? So they didn't see that it was going to help me do that, accomplish that goal by signing up more people under me, right? So they were against that structure, and they brought it up to me, but it wasn't welcome. I didn't pleasantly open myself up to that kind of feedback because I thought of it as an attack to my, my fight to get out of that poverty and get rich, right? So I thought, oh, you guys don't understand because you're jealous. You're envious. You don't want me to succeed. That's why you're telling me this is not a good idea. So when you're putting in hard work, when you're making massive shifts and moves in your life, there are going to be people who are going to approach you and tell you, hey, man, you want to reconsider it. So it's a good idea to listen to those with the good intention. And so whenever you change something, people around you are not happy with it usually because they can't keep up with the change. And they keep saying you're changing a lot, they might not like it. So those are not the people that you want to listen to. You want to listen to the person whose advice is valid, legitimate. Hear them out, right? So that's number two. People work really hard on things without any type of feedback loop, either positive or negative. So they can't track their progress. They can't track whether they're working on something good or bad. So if you don't do that, if you just work hard and hustle, like Gary Vaynerchuk recommends, right? So you might just spend 5 years on a failing business, which I do see that a lot, right? People start businesses with great intentions and fast forward 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years, they are just miserable and they don't see the end to it. They don't know what to do at that point. It's just, they're just too deep into it to quit. And everything is just way too structured mentally, so they can't really make massive changes to bring it around. And they can't just dump it. They have customers, invoices, and products and all that stuff, right? So you don't want to be that person. You want to, while you're working at something, you always want to have people whose opinion you respect a lot, those who know a lot more than you, so you can consult with them and have them hear out your ideas. For example, right after this video, I have a call with somebody that I get mentorship from. Someone from his team reached out to see how I'm doing. I booked a call with him because I highly respect his opinion. I'm just going to lay out my business plans and have him go through and give me feedback, right? Why is that important? Can I not just say, hey, man, I've been in business for over a decade, so I probably know what I'm doing. Thank you, but no, thank you. No, that's the wrong way to do it, because he might say something. I noticed that most of my learning happens through feedback. Someone says something initially, someone I trust says something. Initially, I don't get it. As I think more about it, I go, oh, actually, that's a great idea. I haven't thought about it, right? So I think Newton says something like that, my success was that I was raised on top of the shoulders of other giants, something like that, right? Not verbatim. So this is the same thing. You wanna raise your level up by relying on the other experiences of other people who are more successful than yourself. So most people are not really open to this. Number three is probably the most common thing among people, entrepreneurs who are super positive. They're super optimistic. They don't even allow any glimpse of slight doubt or even negativity or pessimism into their business. And when that happens, they're confusing failing with progress, right? I used to do this a lot, right? I wouldn't even consider the idea of something potentially might be wrong with the business that I'm working on, because that would be negative thought, that would be toxic to the team, that would be just not a good way, good environment to even talk about things not working out. But that's not being positive, that's not being optimistic, that's just you are in some kind of disbelief, you're delusional about what's really happening in your business. That's why you don't want to confuse progress with failing. So that's why you hear things like, oh, we're going to be failing forward, like the famous saying from Thomas Edison, right? When he was, trying to invent a filament, the light bulb, he said that, oh, I didn't fail 10,000 times. I found 10,000 ways that doesn't work. Kudos to him. That works for a genius like him. But for most people, you want to make sure that if you're failing at something, you understand that that's actually failing. So you do something to fix it. You don't just write it off as progress and just ignore the problems. So your ship might be on fire, but you're focusing on the sea, saying that there is water, the fire is going to be put up at some point. That's just not how it works. If your ship is on fire, you got to put it out before you can sail, right? That's really, really important. So number 3, don't confuse failure with progress. Number 4 is a disease of perfectionism that infiltrates every company, every individual at some point. So these are individuals who want to see the full picture, the entire forest before they take action. Well, I wish it worked that way. It would have been amazing. Then the people who are the most careful, people who are the perfectionists, people who love every detail of what they do and they get it memorized would make the best business owners. Well, look around you, you'll see that that's not really the case. You have business owners who are super not detail oriented, they're clumsy. They don't care if they anger some people. They are just, good at a few things, not so good at other things. So when you look at that mix, you might not make sense as to what makes them successful and me. I just want to make sure that I get it right. And I want to make sure I know everything about everything before I do this. That's your enemy. Business doesn't really work that way. You can't just see the entire forest before you take action, right? So that's super important in the perfectionist mindset of just putting hours and hours and hours of effort into something new before you take action is actually not serving you. Actually, it's feeding into the fear. You're using it as an excuse to not take action. I used to work at this payment processing company. I was a territory manager. That's the title they gave me when I was working at the corporate world, and I had, I think, 8 people reporting to me. So we hired this lady. She used to work in pharmaceutical sales. So she came on board, and the company I used to work for, they really didn't have much of a formal training. They would just pat in the back and go get him, Tiger. Here's your brochures, we call it the armed and dangers, flyers and all that stuff. We just go out there and talk to people and make it happen, right? This lady had years of experience in pharmaceutical sales, obviously very technical industry. She went ahead the day after she got hired, as we had a portal where you have all the flyers and all the training documentation that not many people actually watch and read. She spent a few $100s getting everything printed so she can show up to our team meeting next day with all of that. She walked in, and she's this tiny lady with her height is like 5'2". She weighs probably 120 pounds. She's carrying like 600 pages of these printout material, barely walking in, and just laid them on the desk. We're like, whoa, what is going on here? She's like, yeah, this is just mind-boggling. I've been working for the past 2 days. I'm pulling all-nighters. I'm trying to finish this. And my boss was like, what are you trying to accomplish? Well, I got to learn all of this. I got to just consume all of that and digest it so I can be ready for our meetings. I can be ready for my clients. And the line that act as a wake-up call for me was the timeline that she drew out for herself. So she said that she'll be ready in probably 4 weeks to talk to the first person. That's fine. But we hired someone else at the same time a few days ago. That person already got his first client. Why is the case? Because in an ideal world, of course, you want to learn everything. You want to be perfectly ready for everything. But just because just when you think you're ready for everything, things that you're trying to be ready for changes. That's just how it works. The universe changes things, that it throws curveballs at you. So you can never be 100% prepared. In entrepreneurship, that's even further down, further from that, right? So in entrepreneurship, you have an ever-changing environment. So you can't just read a book and become successful as an entrepreneur. For that reason, I always support imperfect action. Just find a vehicle that you think that serves you. That doesn't mean you don't need to be informed, but just get enough and get your practice on and talk to people and generate leads and close deals. That's the best way to grow a business. If you go through any success story from Bill Gates to Elon Musk to Warren Buffett to Charles Munger, Robert Kiyosaki, none of them starts with them nerding out on content for 5 years before they do it. They go pitch something like, I think I talked about the story of Bill Gates. They wrote the software and they thought it was a great idea. They do their first pitch. The client goes, nice job, guys, but I don't really need this. But if you made X, Y, and Z changes on this, I will be a customer, right? And they left, made the changes, came back and sold the first the copy of the software. And look where he is right now, right? It's just a little shortcut story to make you understand how important it is for you to take imperfect action. Don't wait for the perfect moment, perfect marketing material, perfect season for the business, perfect conditions. They will not exist. You just gotta make a decision and move forward. Number 5, last one is a lot of people put themselves on the treadmill of disappointment. Why? They stack disappointments in business. They get excited about a business idea. They want to work really hard towards it, right? I want to work hard. I want to make this happen. I want to make that happen. I want business to pay for my car first and pay for my house first. Then I want to build my wealth. I want to buy a plane, whatever, like any kind of crazy idea you have there. They get super excited, keeps them awake. Then slowly, like 15 days into it, a month into it, 3 months into it, they started getting disappointed by their progress, right? And they slowly lose interest and their mood goes down. They start not talking about those goals anymore. And they think that they start doubting their own intentions and they start doubting their goals. So you never change the goal, you change your strategy to reach the goal, you change your vehicle, right? So if you have a goal of making $1 million a year, don't call yourself out and be like, that was stupid. I should have never thought that I could be a millionaire. Who do you think you are that you can be a millionaire, right? So anytime you're talking to yourself, the inner conversation is super important. That's why you never want to be in this treadmill of disappointment. The reason you're there is you set the wrong expectations. Maybe as a business owner, you might have thought that you'll get there within a month. That was the wrong expectation to start with. Well, obviously, when you haven't reached it, you got disappointed. You felt like you're a failure. Then you had a series of like domino blocks, right? So there's a big domino effect. Then something else goes wrong. Then it doesn't go your way, and you see, again, boom, second failure in your mind. The third one, you try lead generation, you don't get leads. Crap, that's the fourth one. Then this becomes kind of downward spiral, and you start thinking that this is not working. I'm not meant to be a business owner, or this vehicle, this avenue of business, whatever business you're in, is not for me. So whenever you're making I am statements, you got to be super careful. I read so many emails every single day. It upsets me to see how people label themselves, right? Such as, I'm a hard worker, but I guess I'm destined to fail. Nothing works. That's a very strong statement. You got to be careful how you're categorizing yourself and how you're talking about yourself. Because when you make such a strong statement saying that I'm just stuck here, I can't get out, well, how is that serving you? Is that really serving you to make a strong negative statement about your current state because of your past failures? Maybe they were not even failures. I don't really know, because maybe it was just you failing, at setting the right expectation, because you don't want to be destined to fail when you don't know how to set the right expectation from yourself. Like if you're trying to build a 7-figure business and you have a full-time job and you can only dedicate 2 hours a day, that will take some time. You're not going to get there in 3 to 6 months. What do you need to do? Well, one thing that we talk a lot about in our training is that you gotta, have layers of goals. The first goal is to match what you're making right now. Let's say you're making $5,000 right now, right? Well, your business, you got to see that your business supports that level. You got to make $5,000 that matches to what you're doing right now by working 40 hours for somebody else. What's a massive success? Most people will not even get there, right? So you accomplish that, and you just replace your income. What do? Well, you buy yourself time. You quit that job. You're making 5 to 10K right now. If your goal is to be a millionaire, then you take what's working, just do more of that. You don't need to go start another business. That's usually what happens. People get distracted, right? They see this, oh, this is working. What if I have 10 businesses like that? And that was me. I'm not criticizing other people. That was my idea about 7 years ago. At some point, I ended up having so many businesses that I didn't even have the means to track, like through the bank accounts, and I started having late fees, and I didn't know what was being deducted from that account. We signed up for a software back then that we're paying for like $50 for, or something like that. So it can get out of hand really, really fast, right? The idea is find something that allows you to make some money, that gives you initial comfort, so you can open up more time, so you can kind of dive deeper into it, specialize in it. That's how you get to 7 figures, right? And that can take 6 months, a year, 2 years, depending on the industry you're in and what you're trying to accomplish, how you're trying to get there. So that's number 5. You got to make sure that you're not setting the wrong expectations, because what happens is, if I were to draw a graph here, the projectile would look like that when you start a business, you're working all day and night, you're super excited, and a month goes by, and then it does a nosedive, then it flattens itself out. That's how most people do it. When you look at entrepreneurs, though, like successful entrepreneurs, the graph looks like the same graph that initially they're putting in time consistently, right? So they might not be putting in 20 hours out of 24, but that graph is almost straight line, but it has like a 2-3 degree angle that it keeps going up, which is called compounding, right? So fast forward a month, 2 months, 3 months, they get to a point of accumulating such experience and knowledge and skill set, then it's like a rocket taking off, right? So if you look at any graph of compounding, which you'll see on your screen here, that's what it looks like. But most people do not follow that model. They follow this inverted model of burning the candle from both ends, and setting up these crazy goals that's not even realistic for anyone, even for an experienced business owner. And when they fail, they just crash. And then after that, it's just a flat line. They X themselves out. So I hope these 5 things will help you see that if you just focus on working hard, most likely you're just going to fail. I'll be upfront, because everyone thinks that they're working hard, but they're not working. They're not following a proven structure that leads them to that success. If you like this video, comment below, like it, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.